Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Winter Data Meetup. I hope you're enjoying the insightful talks and discussions that we had so far. Meet Evgeniy,
Yes.
an experienced
Hi,
chief
Alexander.
software
Hi,
engineer, ready to unveil the mysteries of Databricks Professional Certified Path. The session is your ticket to supercharging the professional growth and achieving Databricks certification success. Don't miss out this invaluable opportunity to arm yourself with actionable strategies and unlock heightened career prospects in the dynamic world of big data. Now, before we dive into our next session, I'd like to take a moment to ask. Uh, I'd like to ask you for your support in helping us to grow our community and recognize the speaker. Firstly, if you enjoyed the content and um, want to stay updated on future events and talks, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe buttons below this video. Now, for something a bit special, in the video description below, you will find a link to the talk page where you can provide feedback of the talk, give speaker a badge, and rate the session. So, if you like or if you don't like it, and through the talk, if you have any burning questions or insights that you'd like to share, don't hesitate to type them in chat. YouTube chat and community chat. Our team will be monitoring the chat closely and will collect all the questions that will be discussed with the speaker after the presentation. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our speaker to share his valuable insights with us. So, welcome, Evgeny. Floor is
Yes.
yours.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Good day, dear listeners. Today, I would like you to present to you a short presentation on Databricks. Basically, discuss what Databricks is, why it is important, and how can you start your study and work path on Databricks platform. By the way, my name is Evgeniy Ignatiev, of course, and let's begin my presentation. Couple of words about myself. I work here in EPAM for more than 9 years, right now as chief software engineer, all of them in data engineering and big data. Currently, I am Databricks champion and Databricks certified data engineer professional, and I am highly involved in all things related to Databricks on my current project. Also, I have a couple of other cloud certifications. They are not very important right now. So let's begin our journey. First, our agenda would be the following. First, we will discuss what Databricks is, then briefly see what are special technologies involved in Databricks platform. Next, Databricks learning paths that you can take to study Databricks and start your experience. Also, I would briefly iterate over recommended learning resources from Databricks side and from my personal perspective, and as well give a couple of simple exam tips and tricks, just recommendations, because examination part is a bit quirky. You will not know some of these things upfront unless you already take exam, and then you will potentially face maybe some unintended, unknown things. And after that, I will be open to your questions. So let's begin. First of all, what is Databricks and why it is important? Officially, Databricks is like touted as open data, analytics, and machine learning plus AI platform. It's of course famous solution based on Apache Spark primarily, and Databricks is main contributor, basically founded by Apache Spark creators, including Matei Zaharia. Now Databricks also includes such open source projects as Delta Lake and MLFlow, and Databricks has heavy investment in open source and data and AI. You can see here that Databricks was named as leader in various areas, not just these nominations, by Gartner for 3 consecutive years, and it grows rapidly in terms of market share and demand. Actually, if you will go to this link and to some other resources, you will see that now Databricks is at least at the same level of popularity as, for example, Snowflake, very big cloud data warehouse. And unlike Snowflake, Databricks has far higher penetration into machine learning and AI area for already several years. And let's see what Databricks platform actually is based on. And basically, let's just briefly go over technologies that you most likely will experience when working on Databricks. Basically, Databricks, of course, consists of Apache Spark as its foundation. And Spark we can consider right now not just as distributed computation engine based on Hadoop. It is more about distributed SQL fast analytics engine that also has machine learning capabilities and, of course, some side capabilities like graph processing, geo processing, many support sources and things. Of course, Spark streaming. Finally, it is called officially Spark streaming. There is some legacy project called Spark streaming. It is no longer relevant. And of course, you should remember, speaking about Spark, that it is about batch in memory workloads, and even streaming is practically never anything close to real time. Maybe soft near real time, but even whatever you read about it, be wary that it is not for real time streaming purposes. Here you see that Databricks, of course, offers many other services. Databricks is cloud native platform, so it works first on cloud solutions like Azure and AWS. And basically, what people first see when they start working on Databricks is Databricks Workspace, Databricks notebooks. They are similar but not the same to IPython or other notebooks, Jupyter notebooks, and so-called production jobs, or basically Databricks workflows jobs and their API. And let's briefly go over other parts of Databricks runtime. Another very big and important area in Databricks is Delta Lake. For Spark professionals, it might be familiar or you may have heard about it. Delta Lake is officially open source cloud native storage framework. Originally, it was developed to address complexity to store data and basically, more importantly, process data that is stored on cloud native storages, which is far more, I would say, different task from working with data stored on HDFS or just file system. And right now, Databricks has grown its Delta Lake solution in the, first of all, open source project that is independent from Apache Spark. You don't have to use Spark to benefit from Delta Lake, even open source version. Second, Databricks provides high integration with Delta storage, which basically also is interoperable with other storage formats like Iceberg and Hoodie. Both of them also were created to address complexities of storing and working with large amounts of data in a more consistent manner and table-like manner in comparison to raw Parquet files. Here is just a small picture that demonstrates most common so-called Metadata architecture on Databricks platform, where you kind of see your data as old school tables, and each set of tables is split into some layer. For example, there is like bronze layer, silver layer, gold layer. You will experience it very soon if you start learning Databricks. No matter if you are machine learning data specialist, you will see this architecture. Next, let's go further. What is actually first offering that you might also see on Databricks that is proprietary, so-called Unity Catalog. Its name implies that it provides unified something over the data. And it is actual database cataloging solution that goes through all, I would say, parts of Databricks platform right now. Even through ML part of it, it provides not just catalog of tables and informational views. It is a space that gives you introspection into data lineage, which is not uncommon in classic metadata storages for table-like solutions on Apache Spark and big data. You basically can see how your data flows from one table to another, which provides very powerful inbuilt solution for your transformations. And Unity Catalog basically completes this data warehousing, let's say, basis in Databricks. And of course, metadata management, user and access management is built in Unity. Let's go briefly further. Next part, Delta Live Tables. You will see initially, as I mentioned, Databricks jobs, workflows. This is task-oriented view over the, let's say, ETL or ELT processing on Databricks. Basically, you build your job, your processing pipeline, whatever it is as task, do this, do this, do this. How imperative-oriented approach. But also, Databricks provides declarative-oriented dimension, different view where you kind of define these delta live tables, data sets that flow from one to another and build this set of transformation one to another. For example, they support both batch-oriented analytics cases. For example, the very same data warehousing can be easily built with Delta Live tables and Delta Lake, slowly change dimensions, and as well, I would say semi, of course, streaming-oriented cases. Micro batch streaming still is Spark based, and they also provide built-in data quality checks. Basically, you define them in line in the very same declarative manner. Maybe if you use Delta Live tables in Python code, just as regular Python code constructs decorators. And they provide you with this automatic data lineage that will be displayed in Unity Catalog, automatic data quality checks that you can see on Databricks dashboards, what is the quality of your data. Uh, so let's go briefly further because we unfortunately don't have a lot of time. Uh, Speaking about AI part, I would like to highlight a couple of facts about Databricks support for AI and machine learning. Databricks touts itself as Databricks Lakehouse AI, so it is data lake plus data warehouse capabilities, and it supports machine learning. I think officially Databricks started its journey here since Spark Plus AI conferences, I think mm, a bit less than 10 years ago. And basically, uh, uh, it supports nowadays vector search. It supports, of course, regular machine learning models, and this is the biggest and most important part. It supports experimentation, MLFlow, foundational models, and you can basically also just work with foundational models by using them directly from Databricks Marketplace. Databricks Marketplace provides not only foundational models for ML, it provides other solutions. It is kind of Databricks approach to give you this capability to create your data set, data product, sort of on Databricks and publish it for reuse, for example, for your customers. And Unity Catalog, as you can see here, is foundation for feature store for other parts, going through all these capabilities. Let's go briefly further. By the way, all these links in my presentation will be clickable. You can navigate to respective areas in Databricks documentation or Databricks website. So let's observe this part of Databricks. First thing that you will read about will be something in the line in mentioned MLFlow and AutoML if you start studying machine learning dimension in Databricks. And by the way, don't worry, if you are a ML specialist, you will have to study fundamentals and study the machine learning part of Databricks. If you are data engineering specialist, you will have to study fundamentals and data engineering part of Databricks, but you don't have to dive deep into other areas that you are right now not working on. So it is not required to study absolutely everything. And machine learning mentioned MLFlow. Again, MLFlow is another project that is basically supported, maintained by Databricks contributors and is sponsored by Databricks. It is open sourced, and Databricks provides fully integrated proprietary version with its own extensions in Databricks platform. It is built again on Databricks jobs, Databricks workflows, API, and you will have to work with Databricks notebooks. So if you ever study Databricks and going to work with Databricks, be prepared to work with notebooks a lot, and also be prepared that most of the time, if you write some kind of code, it will be Python code. I think I should have said it earlier. Feature store is functionality that is provided out of the box in Databricks, and it is built on Unity Catalog. So you will have the same governance and lineage capabilities for your, let's say, machine learning pipeline. And here you see small machine learning pipeline, basically very shortly outlined how you ideally will work on Databricks. And of course, Databricks also provides capability to serve your models when you train them. There is so-called Databricks model serving solution that allows you to expose your models through REST API, and they will be available to consumption. And another capability that is important for this area is that Databricks uses serverless, let's say, compute layer to serve your models, so you don't have to worry about basically managing Databricks clusters, operating them when you work on machine learning area of Databricks. Still, it is very important to understand how Databricks computation layer works, at least from the perspective how much you will pay, because costs is everything in such high, let's say, technical product that involves lots of work. And Databricks model serving is serverless, and Databricks plans to expand the serverless offering. It is very convenient because without serverless, you often have to wait for some time, minutes, maybe tens of seconds, dozens, when your job starts processing. It sounds not much, but can be really painful when you need to iterate fast and fluent on your training or on your ETL pipeline. So this is basically Databricks model serving. And just we have to mention this part, Databricks vector search. Nowadays, generative AI is all the rage, and Databricks is of course part of this process. They actively support foundational models for their Databricks Lakehouse platform. They have Llama 2 model all available, and they also work on their own models in Databricks Labs. Databricks Vector Search is proprietary solution, basically vector database integrated with Databricks ecosystem. We don't know what is inside. Potentially, it is something like Lucene-based index, but it provides this vector search capabilities that you can integrate with your Databricks model, for example, like Databricks chatbot, and serve your chatbot requests. And it is all built on Unity, on Delta tables. And Delta tables are, let's say, are far closer to actual database tables, so you can really work with them in far more streamlined manner than with raw big data formats like Parquet. Let's go further. What is actually the path that you can take? There are several ways in Databricks how you can start studying, working with it, and certifying to prove your knowledge. First, recommended way to start is Lakehouse fundamentals. I would say you, of course, is not required to start with this certification. Personally, I never looked into it. And the two main paths are Databricks Data Engineer and Databricks Machine Learning Specialist. Here, specific certification is just called Machine Learning Associate and Professional. The same is for Data Engineer. There is also Data Analyst, but it doesn't have professional level. I do not focus on it right now. I think it will be much more important in near future. And there are specialty certifications. Maybe there will be something about AI. Specialty, some of them are some kind of legacy. For example, Apache Spark 3.0 developer certified. I was certified once for this certification. And primary are data engineer and machine learning associate. Uh, so I think these are the main certifications, and you don't have to take associate level as well. I took professional initially as I already had experience working on Databricks and Spark for quite a bit of time. So let's briefly go over these certifications, what they entail, and basically what topics you have to be aware about. So, and of course, your Databricks journey. So you need to select your path, you need to study and practice. And this is the most important, practice. Not just read documentation or read some courses, books, but work through Databricks labs, through Databricks demos, through all the practical materials you have, because they actually provide you hands-on experience that will be tested on exams. There will be no, of course, in examination part, no laboratory work that you have to do hands-on on time, but it is really related to actual experience, not to some, blog posts. And of course, register exam and successfully take it. So let's see briefly this overview of certifications in Databricks. First of all, Databricks Data Engineering Certification. What you can expect. There are official descriptions, there are official practice exams. Personally, I would say that both, of course, associate and professional level certifications require knowing fundamentals and require your focus on ETL, good knowledge, good experience with Apache Spark, and best practice of PySpark. Well, not only coding, but actually development and engineering, really. So deployment, testing, etc. Delta Lake experience, they are focused. They have many questions that are specific to Databricks, but these questions are light. The actual knowledge that you have to have is engineering experience, data engineering, Spark engineering, ETL. Databricks, I would say, special topics. They are everywhere, but they are not complex. They are not interwoven into the question very hardly. Fundamentals that you will need for machine learning as well, of course, PySpark, Databricks notebooks, as I already mentioned, Databricks repos, basically integration with Git, and it is far more important to understand mentally how to properly work with version control systems than exactly how to work with Databricks repos. Databricks cluster management. Again, it is very simple topic actually, and Databricks jobs. This is about having, let's say, framework scaffolding inside your mind, how all these Databricks workflows are structured, because they have kind of semi-repeating uniform structure in terms of parameters, job description, these schemas that once you look at it a couple of times, especially practically when you maybe perform some analysis of jobs that you have submitted, you will very easily understand how they work and what can be feasibly asked on exam, you will answer without issues. Officially, there are topics that both exams focus on. I would say that both exams will actually test you on ELT and ETL on Apache Spark. Doesn't matter if it is associate or professional. Doesn't matter if it is associate or professional. You should know testing and deployment. And actually, this is a most important part. How can you validate your model or your data product, and how can you deploy it? There will be actually questions on testing and deployment, and of course data governance, security, incremental data processing, so-called Databricks autoloader, for example, or it is based on Spark streaming. So it is important for both of these exams, just covered on a different levels. And let's go briefly further. For machine learning specialist overview, I must say I did not take this exam, but it is, as well as far as I can see from my knowledge and what I have looked about it. Also, you should know experimentation, uh, Databricks machine learning features, and Databricks model serving. You should know for both exams, no matter if it is listed only for one of them. Basically, professional level exams, they are built on associate level experience. And of course, you should be good with Spark, maybe not at the same extent as data engineering professional. Plus, you should be, of course, familiar with MLlib, MLflow, feature store on Databricks, and it is far more important to have practical knowledge in MLflow, in Spark, in actually working with pandas, with machine learning workflows, how they are structured, then how to experiment, then to have ton of studying of Databricks documentation. So practical knowledge trumps this theoretical, uh, let's say, uh, ethereal experience. So where you can study, and my recommendations would be the following. First, consider Databricks Academy and some other Databricks resources, not just Databricks Academy. Next, I will briefly talk about Udemy practice tests, but I can't recommend any courses on Udemy. I think Databricks Academy resources are far superior to other courses that you may find. O'Reilly. O'Reilly, for some reason, not all people consider. Of course, it is paid platform, but there are some books that are available on behalf of Databricks freely to anybody who will sign on their website, and they are really great books. Plus, of course, some YouTube, not playlists, but a couple of channels that provide really great content for Databricks and Spark. So let's briefly look into them. First, Databricks Academy, and all these links are clickable. Databricks Academy, there are several flavors of it: partner, for example, and customer academy, depending on your how can I say, registration, if you work for a company that is partner of Databricks, or if you just individual, you can access either of them. And there are instructor-led courses. They are quite, let's say, hard to attend because they are in person and they are very expensive, but there are also just self-paced courses. I highly recommend, for example, for any, let's say, uh, a person who starts working as data engineer to study through advanced data engineering on Databricks, no matter if you are going to be data engineer associate certified or if you are going to be, you don't want to be certified at all. This is a really valuable course. Work through all of its assignments and laboratory work. Also, Databricks Demo Center. Demos library actually provides you with excellent hands-on notebooks that you can go through, and this can be applied literally to uh, understand how can you build streaming pipeline, data transformation pipeline, the very same data warehousing, ETL or ELT solution that involves these slowly changing dimensions, etc. And Databricks Labs. investigate what Databricks offers in terms of open source and public projects. Databricks Labs are interesting assortment of projects that you might embark on. They might not be production ready, many of them, but they provide you some capabilities like, for example, data generation for fake data, provisioning for tests, validation, etc. Otherwise, maybe you will spend time building your own. Even in production, it can be very valuable to check out. And let's go further. External resources, I packed them all on this page. First, Udemy. This is only recommended from my experience for practice exams. At least I think there are a couple of good providers that provide solid practice exams for Databricks Engineer, Associate, and Professional. Never rely on their answers. Always work through documentation on your own and whatever exam recommend. I have studied through this professional exam. I think it is a really good practice exam, but it has multiple errors that are differently answered directly in documentation, in blogs when you work through it. And of course, if you ever encounter a similar question on actual exam, the right answer will be the one that is correct in documentation in how you actually work with Databricks, not what you see in explanation there. And I can't recommend any reputable for ML. Unfortunately, I looked into it, but I don't see the same reputable instructors for Databricks ML that I, for example, know for Azure or AWS machine learning certification or AI certification. But I think there will be soon. And of course, you always have Databricks Academy. Next, Delta Lake Definitive Guide and Spark Definitive Guide on O'Reilly. So O'Reilly platform, there are many resources there. If you have O'Reilly subscription, just check out. Some of them will be free for you in comparison to Udemy, and some resources are basically published on both platforms, some courses. These books are early releases. They are not actual releases, but they are free as early releases for Databricks books, and they are accessible on behalf of Databricks from their website. They provide really interesting information and very easy to read. And of course, YouTube channels, couple of them I recommend. Official Databricks channel, always check out what information is available there, and Advancing Analytics channel. This is really great. UK-based consulting company. If you are familiar with Azure or Databricks and worked with them before, you with high probability know about this channel. It provides really insightful information in Databricks, ETL, lots of great information about Azure. Even if you are not going to work with Databricks a lot, consider this channel if you are working on Azure Analytics. Really great knowledge there. And basically, that's about external resource. Finally, couple of exam tips and let's say quirks that I have encountered and people encounter first time they raise the questions about exam. Databricks uses Criterion as their exam provider, not for example Pearson VUE. Criterion has specifics. For example, you can't just test your laptop or PC or Mac, whatever, if it will work with Criterion, unless you actually take the exam. So it is a bit of problem. You should very carefully read what are system requirements. Of course, you should sit in quiet room, and exam is proctored. When you study for exam, never use exam dumps because often they are just content that was let's say reshuffled from practice exams that are built by instructors on Udemy. And once again, relevant links and relevant documentation is the most important part for studying for the exam and for studying in general. And always take your exam on machine that has speakers. Preferably this is like laptop, built-in speakers, and also microphone. Once again, you have to communicate with proctor during the exam. Maybe you have, maybe you don't, but live person can join exam when you take it, and they can request to talk to you. Without speakers, you can't hear them, and they would also request to hear your voice. And this is very important. They want to hear your voice because maybe your microphone is disabled and somebody talks to you, so they want to check if actually you try not to circumvent the exam environment. And you can't wear any devices on your hands, on your, let's say, body. It will also be checked. Also set a time zone in your WebAssessor Criterion profile. When you will register for exam, you will have option to select time for exam, and unlike in Pearson VUE, you will not see time zone there. But your local time zone that you set in your profile, it will be selected actually in this time slot selector. and you should always consider that you are, let's say, scheduling in this time zone that is set in your profile. And finally, you can't test your exam environment after you register, and you can only start checking in, uh, not check out, of course, check in, sorry, uh, approximately 30 minutes before exam, or maybe even less. And it is really inconvenient that you can't even tell when this exam check-in button appears. You have to basically start your environment, open Criterion web page with your exam registration, and refresh it 30 minutes before exam. There will be appearing let's say button check-in, and you will start checking in with your ID or passport. So prepare documents for your exam. I think that's all tricks, tips. Never worry. Exam is not hard if you prepare well. I spent about 1 hour on professional exam. It contains 60 to 65 questions, and let's say I got 95% correct answers, 95% out of 100. So preparation is not hard if you work actually on Databricks or study sufficiently. Once again, I think that's all from my side. Thank you very much for listening and joining. I am open to your questions.
Yeah, thank you, Evgeny. So let's move to our questions. So probably the first question is, you mentioned about the practical experience. Is it really required to pass exam?
Not required to pass exam. Of course, practical experience is the most important. And if you have it, you don't have to pass exam. It is just proof of your actual experience. I understand that the biggest, I think, barrier for exam is, of course, cost. And if it is even sponsored for you or cost is not important, it is time and investment to study for exam, because some questions are, let's say, they can be obvious for a professional, but you see them on exam and you wonder what is expected, because you should be actually you should have mental model of person who created exam because they want to test if you really know it, even if it is like some basic question. They actually want to understand if you really know it. It is easy to wrangle with data on Databricks without knowing important parts, I would say.
And how do you think, is it required to have production experience, or it's enough just to make some practical tasks, maybe on own cluster, something like that?
Mm, I think it is very feasible to not have production experience and do practical tasks, but you have to study well and especially understand really well, let's say, mm, Apache Spark and foundation of Databricks. So it is not important to. It is not as important to know Databricks specifics as it is important to know underlying, let's say, principles for both machine learning and data engineering.
Okay, got it. And maybe there is a path that you would recommend to data quality specialist.
I think it is most valuable to consider a data engineer associate and maybe data analyst associate. Professional exam if you are interested in data engineering, because data quality is heavily involved with analytics in at least Databricks. And this is either parts of data engineer experience or data analyst experience. So data quality, I would recommend these two exams depending on what, let's say, clicks with you more.
And yeah, so what's your opinion about these exam dumps? Is it
Uh, mhm.
yeah, is it better to try them, or so courses are enough?
I think practice exams on Udemy, it is the best to try them,
Yep.
because most of these so-called dumps, they will not contain correct questions even. And
Ah,
some of them will be just questions that literally were snipped from Udemy, not from actual exam. But on Udemy, at least they are updated and the links are clickable. I
ah.
can't really say about Databricks, but it is known information that there were cases, multiple, when instructors for AWS, like Tutorials Dodge, were target of basically such dumps, not actual exams.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, we also have a question about Databricks in general. Is Databricks and Data Lake well suited for managing the slowly changing dimensions?
Mm. I think for just slowly change dimensions, if we speak about it, they were created for mention such cases. Basically, slowly change dimensions is part of, I would say, offer that Databricks provides for Delta Lake and actually Delta Lake itself, and it is part of the advertisement. Depending on what other needs you have, because just slowly change dimensions is not much to implement on Delta Lake. You don't need Databricks, you don't even need Spark to support SCD.
Yeah, we have also interesting question. Do you see Databricks will stay relevant after 5 years?
uh, Hard to say actually. So Databricks will likely stay after 5 years, like many other companies, like DataStax for Cassandra, still exists and keeps going. If it will be as relevant as today, it is hard to say. I think it is on great path right now because it definitely grows fast, and it was on a right path for many years before. So it started its journey in streaming in AI far earlier than some other companies, and it is on its path for a very long time.
Yeah, we also have an interesting question. One more. If internet connection breaks during the exam, will it will it ruin the attempt, or reconnecting and proceeding with it will be okay? Or maybe you
Uh,
already had such
it is
cases.
possible. It is possible to reconnect, as far as I know. I can't really say if it is always possible. It depends on proctor. So you should sit still and wait until connection goes on, if it is possible for you. Formally, you can like phone call. Let's say proctor or criterion, I think, but I never have such experience. If you just reconnect, you may even just reconnect to exam. Your exam can be re-released if there is something problematic during your reconnect, but I'm not sure about criterion specifically. So it depends. It depends on if proctor react properly and fast enough.
Hmm. Yeah, and my question. Uh, so, what do you think about like these exams and certifications in general? Isn't it like a piece of paper, like most people think? Yeah, and yeah. So, does it worth like passing this exam and preparing?
I think it is worth studying, uh, depending on, as I mentioned, how much effort it takes for you to pass exam and how significant for you is investment in terms of money. It can be worth it. It potentially may or may not. That is totally depends. I see it as something that proves your knowledge, but I don't see it as something really impactful.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Evgeny. And that concludes our session. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope you found this session insightful and inspiring. In the video description below, you will find the link to the talk page where you can provide your feedback for the talk, give speaker a badge, and rate the session if you like it or if you don't like it. Additionally, if you'd like to revisit any of the slides or links, you can download the presentation on the talk page. And so check video description and find this link. Thank you very much, Evgeny, for coming today. We could not do it without you. And once
Thanks.
again, yeah, thank you all for your participation, engagement, and support. We look forward to see you on our next sessions. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring the exciting world of data. So thank you all very much. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye.